I hate this shit. So, do you know how angry I got? You know how angry I got when Gone just becomes Big Gone? God. Dude, it's so fucking lazy, dude.
Honestly, your take with the Chimera Ant arc is one of the worst takes in anime.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about it.
Is that the thing that we disagree on that you wanted to mention?
Yes, you have the floor, Nux. You have the floor.
Dude, you're challenging me, right? So you tell me your statement, and I will disagree with you and explain to you why you're wrong.
So I think Chimera Ant arc is a good arc for as far as anime go. Okay. But as far as Hunter x Hunter arcs go, I feel like it is one of, if not just not the best arc. I feel like there are better arcs, and I feel like it is severely overhyped. What is your stance?
Well, you basically said a lot of words that, but you give yourself so much cushioning. You're like, it is a good arc, but it's not the best arc, but it's an overrated arc, but it's like, it's okay, but it's not as good as people say. It's like, I mean...
No, this is my exact statement. It's good for anime.
This is such a lukewarm take.
Yeah, that's why you said it was the worst, and then I told you my actual take, and now you're saying it's just lukewarm.
Dude, you titled your stream, Why Chimera Ant arc is the worst arc in Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, because you fucking tilted me. But it is
titled it that before I said anything.
Okay, well, then I can also argue why it is the worst arc.
Dude, and you can pick whatever you want. Pick whatever you want.
Okay, let's talk about it from my perspective. I'll even play devil's advocate. Yeah, it's the worst arc of all of Hunter x Hunter.
Okay, so I'll play devil's advocate and say it's the best arc. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about this right now. Length. Let's Google. Let's quickly Google.
It's like 68 episodes or something.
So the Chimera Ant arc is 60 episodes, and Hunter x Hunter
is
episodes.
148.
So Chimera Ant arc is over 1/3 of the series. First of all, I don't think longer equals better. Agreed. And I also feel that the entire story could have been told in half the time. And also in the entire arc, they took away the plot from all of the main characters and gave it to characters who are going to be irrelevant for the rest of the manga. So why are we spending time developing characters that don't have a overarching theme for the entirety, or at least the foreseeable future of the manga, and tearing apart the characters that actually matter in the fucking manga? For example, Gon and Killua are absolute fucking jokes and made to look like fucking pussies the entire fucking arc.
So your complaint is the most relevant characters in this series aren't given the most relevant character arcs in this arc?
If the anime were to be completed, if it were to see its course, I feel like Chimera Ant arc would just be considered irrelevant during the entire thing.
But I think that the Chimera Ant arc, where it's the reason why I think it's the best arc in Hunter x Hunter is because essentially it's a story about humanity. And every part of the Chimera Ant arc is basically a different lens to look at humanity. The darkness of humanity, to look at how Meruem, who's essentially a monster, and Gon, who is a human, completely reverse roles as the story progresses, where Meruem becomes so human at the end of the arc, and Gon becomes essentially a monster at the end of the arc. And
yeah, I call that lazy fucking writing.
No, I think that's brilliant writing.
It's terrible writing because it's not impressive that a fucking manga writer can just go on a tangent about something that has literally nothing to do with the rest of the entire fucking show and act like it's, okay, what's more impressive? Just saying a bunch of random fucking ideas or having one idea and taking it to the absolute length? It's the exact same reason why Steel Ball Run sucks fucking balls. Well, then what the fuck was the point of the race?
Well,
the same thing with
the issue is,
Ant
again, I haven't seen Steel Ball Run, so I don't know.
Right.
But, like, I would like to show you this image, if you don't mind.
No outside references.
Well, it's not an outside reference. I just want to show you the parallel that I'm referring to.
This is something that I have an issue with so many fucking animes, where they have such a good thing fucking going, and then they just give up on it. And then being like given up on equals innovation. It's like, dude, it's not.
I don't think he gave up on
it.
Hunter x Hunter shines where most shonen don't, because Hunter x Hunter, throughout the entire Hunter x Hunter story, it's all about tackling different layers of humanity. And I think that no arc in anime does a better job than the Chimera Ant arc. And now I'm going to mention the parallel. Here you have Meruem looking down at Komugi as him acting as a human, feeling for her.
Yep.
And here you have Gon looking at Pito like a monster. Here you have, again, the same exact parallel of scenes. And every scene in the Chimera Ant arc is like that. You have them both pointing, but what's the context of them pointing? The context of Gon pointing in this scene is, I am about to murder you. I'm about to eviscerate you. And here you have Meruem pointing, saying, I value you as a human.
Let me go ahead and deconstruct your entire point.
Wait, let me finish my sentence before you deconstruct
my
point.
You, Nox. Go ahead.
All right,
go ahead.
So here you have Killua looking at Gon from behind, looking at his friend who transformed from a human to a monster through the pain that he exhibited. Here you have Poof looking at Meruem from behind, frustrated that Meruem is descending from a monster to a human. This is a fantastic scene. You have the exact same pose with different arms for Gon and Meruem. You have here Killua and Pito both crying and both pleading. You have them both. The parallels are insane. And that's why.
Yeah, and none of this is lost on me. I am aware of all of this.
All right, so then how could you say this is the worst arc in Hunter x Hunter?
Because all of this pain gone before and also after the arc. None of this has had permanent repercussions on everything after Hunter x Hunter. So why was it told? The Chimera Ant arc only exists in the Chimera Ant arc. It's not about Hunter x Hunter. It's only about this arc. And it's not impressive that you can tell a random fucking story in the middle of an anime because all of the repercussions of the arc are completely lost after the arc.
I think you're wrong because, first of all, we haven't
Have you
seen
read Hunter x Hunter?
I am fully up to date in Hunter x Hunter. In the manga as well. We don't. So if you're including the manga, by the way, it's not more than a third of the story. All right, it's more like a fifth of the story.
I'm just talking about the anime. Yeah, we're just talking about the anime.
Well, the anime ends right after this arc. There's one chairman arc where Gon is sick and just finally gets healed at the end.
No, yeah, exactly.
So,
I thought you didn't read the manga.
I did read the manga.
Which is why I was referencing the length.
Yeah, it's okay. If you want to include the manga, this is a fifth of the story. So if it's
we shouldn't include the manga because there's gonna be a lot of spoilers for chat because the majority of people haven't read the manga for Hunter.
Well, we don't need to really talk about the manga. You're just saying that this is such a big chunk of the story, but if you include the manga, it's not as big of a chunk.
But if we're not though, because the majority of people have only seen the anime.
But the story continues. It's like, what are you saying?
But it is still. Well, no, I'm saying is
it's
that
like,
okay.
It's
so
like, all right. Hear me out.
Let me talk, motherfucker. What I'm saying is, it's the longest arc. That's not debatable.
Is it longer than the current arc in the manga?
Pull it up.
Well, it's the current arc in the manga is only halfway done, so I don't think it is. Dude, I don't know what you're saying.
You don't know. It's on hiatus, bro. It doesn't even count. Right? Like, you don't know what the length of the arc is?
You're right, but it's already super long. All right. Anyway, I think this length argument is kind of irrelevant.
No, the reason why it is relevant is because people think that Chimera Ant arc it's longer, and we as humans think that the longer that we have emotionally invested into a series, the longer that we've watched, the better it is. That's why people who have watched 1,000 episodes of One Piece convince themselves that it's the best anime ever, just because they've invested so much time into it that they don't want to consider that a waste of time.
I think that's a terrible.
It's actually a very valid take.
All right,
that's why people have family values because they've known people for longer,
What's your favorite arc in anime?
They actually like them.
What's your favorite arc in shonen anime?
My favorite arc in anime, if I were to put it down, it's probably part 2, JoJo's.
Wow, so you like the short JoJo arc? Funny he mentioned that. You like the short JoJo arc. It's funny because part 3 is 50 episodes, and part 4 is 38 episodes, and part 5 is 37 episodes, but you like the short one. Dude, I think you should evaluate yourself, bro.
Well, no, part 1 is only 8 episodes.
Yeah, I know.
So that completely dismantles that point.
No, it doesn't. I just said you liked a short
yeah, it does because
part.
if you're saying that I like the shortest parts, well,
I didn't say the shortest part. I said a short part. Part 2 is much shorter than 3, 4,
yeah, but
5.
I didn't say that Chimera arc is a kind of long part. I said people like it because it's the longest arc.
No one likes it because it's long. I never use the argument that people like it because it's long. I really don't know why you're harping on this point. I never said you did.
Is that people like things the longer they've had in their life because they don't want to consider it a waste of time.
Why do you keep coming back to this length point? It's like you're arguing someone that's not here. I'm literally I never said this.
Because you brought up the length. Because you brought up the length of part. You brought up the length of part 2.
After you argued about length for 20 minutes.
Yeah, so then I responded to you bringing it up.
You keep mentioning length. I have never mentioned length because I think that length is irrelevant when it comes to quality. If it can retain my attention the whole time, if it tells a deeper story.
To tell me why I was wrong about liking part 2 because it was short.
Dude,
so I responded to that criticism.
I thought that you understood my sarcasm when I said that, part 2 is short and you liked it.
You use the sarcasm card in an argument.
It's not a card. I think that everyone realized that I was being sarcastic when I mentioned it.
I don't think so.
I really do believe so. Because I definitely meant it that way.
So then what was the point of the sarcasm?
The point of the sarcasm was you were talking about length for like 20 minutes. And I mentioned a part exaggerating isn't going to help the argument. Like, let's speak in facts, right? We don't need to exaggerate. It wasn't 20 minutes. It was more like a minute and a half. I would say that you discussed length for a bigger percentage of this debate than the length of the Chimera Ant arc in Hunter x Hunter.
And so you think it's important because of the length. It bothers you because it's long. That's crazy.
Why do you keep saying length? I don't care about the length. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You just said the length, Mac. You just said it. It baffles me. It's like you're not even listening to your own words. It's insane.
It's like you're only hearing what you want to hear.
No, now you're just repeating what I'm saying.
What?
Like, what are you talking about?
The Chimera Ant arc is much like a penis. The length does not matter. It's quality regardless.
Okay, but I'm saying it's a lot easier to tell a good story in a long period of time than it is to tell one in a short story. Like, if you have more time, then it's easier to tell a good story. If you have less time, it's hard to tell a good story.
I mean, I don't agree. I think that the war arc
Okay, tell me a good story in 5 seconds,
arc.
then tell me a good story in 2 hours.
Right,
What's going to be more captivating?
Why are you talking about length again?
Because you just said you disagree with the point, so I gave you a point to argue against.
All right, let me make myself clear, since obviously you didn't understand what I was saying. I don't think that the length is relevant. I think that it's, notwithstanding the length of the Chimera Ant arc, it's still the best arc in Hunter x Hunter.
Before you say the length is irrelevant again, okay, let me hear your point one more time. You say the length is irrelevant.
I'll repeat what I said. Notwithstanding the length of the Chimera Ant arc, it is still the best arc in Hunter x Hunter.
And my point is,
okay, yes,
including the length,
okay,
it's easier to tell a good story with longer amount of episodes.
I don't know.
If you have more time, you can tell a better story.
So is your point that it's a good story?
My point is that it's much easier to say this is really good because it's very long, whereas other arcs like Greed Island were much shorter, yet we still had the exact same amount of fulfillment. Like
I don't
the
think
enjoyment
we had the same
of the
amount
show.
of fulfillment. I didn't have the same amount of enjoyment.
You didn't enjoy. Well, I mean that's your prerogative, right? I'm just speaking from like a objective point of view.
It's not
one
objective.
is a completed story.
I think, yeah, they're both complete stories. It's just one is far superior and greater in depth.
But the greater in depth comes from the length, not from the stories that were told.
No, it comes from the stories that were told.
How do you figure?
For example, I just gave you all these parallels between Gon and Meruem, right? I think that telling a story where Gon starts off the arc as a naive kid and Meruem starts off as this self-justified existential monster.
Okay, so you're talking about the growth inside of the arc.
I was definitely referring to a lot of depth that was going on in the arc. And you didn't have anything like that in Greed Island.
No, and then my argument versus that is that all that completely gone once the arc is over.
So you think...
So what was the point of it?
Hold on. I don't know why you think that the arc being good as a standalone is irrelevant to you. And I also don't know why you think that there was no... lingering effects to this storyline. I mean,
there is lingering effects.
We haven't seen Gon. We
haven't
haven't seen Gon since the arc ended. Essentially, we saw him for like one episode. So I don't think you could say that there are no lingering effects if you literally haven't seen what the effects could be when Gon eventually comes back. If the hiatus ever ends.
not like the whole missing an arm thing. Like I'm talking about like from the development of Gon's personality in the anime.
You're gonna refer to the missing an arm thing? Remember when he lost an arm in Greed Island and immediately got it back because of a Yu-Gi-Oh card? Remember that?
that was the whole premise of the arc, though.
Yeah,
why is that a bad thing?
I'm just saying that it doesn't carry over to future arcs. What development in Greed Island carried over to future arcs?
Okay, let's talk about the training arc, for example.
Okay.
The fight of Gon versus Hisoka.
That didn't happen in Greed Island.
I know, I'm saying we're going to a different arc.
You want to lay your points down, or you want to jump around talking about why different parts of different arcs are better to specific points of the Chimera Ant arc?
You wanted to go to Greed Island, and I said let's go to the training arc. So let's talk about the training arc.
Greed Island's your favorite arc.
It is my favorite arc, but I'm not arguing for it. Because I know that objectively, that's most likely, it's probably not the best arc, but it's the one that I enjoy the most. And I'm not enjoying for my take, I'm trying to talk in general.
I mean, this story is art, and art is subjective, so I have no qualms if you dislike the Chimera Ant arc, or if you like Greed Island. To me, that's irrelevant.
No, but I'm saying like, the story of Hisoka versus Gon.
So Hisoka is my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter. Just saying.
Yeah, he's an amazing character.
Fantastic.
He's a story that's also not present in Chimera Ant arc.
Yes.
So don't you think it's kind of important to have the characters of the show inside that arc?
No, not if it does a great job without it.
Okay, I'm gonna just say this one more time and then we'll just have everything on the table.
Okay.
Why would we tell a story about characters that are irrelevant to the overarching main story when the show is not about those characters? Why is that considered innovation? Why is that considered groundbreaking when it's not impressive to tell a random standalone point? It's like in a conversation when we just said this, why are you bringing up points that don't matter to the arguments That's the exact same thing that I'm saying about Chimera and Arc. Why are we talking about all this bullshit that doesn't fucking matter for characters that don't fucking matter besides this one small portion?
All right, so before I
answer, why did we develop them?
Before I answer, I would like to let you know that I let you finish your entire sentence without cutting you off with volume.
It was 42 seconds.
I'm just saying, I didn't interrupt. I let you finish.
I can go longer, but I chose not to.
All right, that's very big of you. Much like the length of the Chimera and Arc. So, I think that there is when it comes to an arc of a larger story, I think that there are two things you want. You want an encapsulated good story, and you also want a good story that affects everything else. Your complaint of the Chimera and Arc is not even necessarily that the arc itself isn't bad. You're agreeing that the arc is good as a standalone story. You're just saying that it doesn't affect the overall premise of Hunter x Hunter. That's your complaint?
Yes, I agree with what you're saying 100%. Yes.
Don't agree. I'm just trying to reiterate what you said in a way that just to ensure that I understand it.
Sure.
Okay. So I would argue that the Chimera Ant arc plays a very large picture in the overall Hunter x Hunter story. And it doesn't need to be through direct character development either. Now, there are a few things in the story that do carry over. Like, for example, Netero dying. Introducing a whole bunch of Hunter associates that definitely exist later, like Morel and Knuckle and Shoot, right? I think that Gon had definitely had character development that will exist in future arcs. We just haven't seen him since then. Like, I do think these things will exist. Kite, we got introduced to Kite. He taught us about the greater mystery surrounding Jing, and then we saw the entire reincarnation where Kite could exist in future arcs super easily. I'm not saying that it didn't, it's just nothing happened with these characters yet, so you can't say that none of these plot points were fulfilled just because they weren't fulfilled yet, right? Gon losing his Nen literally establishes the entire Killua part of the next arc. The literal following arc is half of it's about Killua getting his sibling to get Nen back for Gon. That's relevant for future arcs. But what I think the Chimera Ant arc does right is the themes of the entire Hunter x Hunter show. The show didn't get as dark as it did in the Chimera Ant arc. Are you agreeing with what I'm saying so far? Just so I don't keep going.
You told me not to agree.
I didn't tell you not to agree.
You said I don't need you to agree, so I'm letting you talk.
So I need to see what you're thinking. Do you think, did I say anything wrong?
You said so much shit wrong. It was outrageous.
What?
Yo, bro, it could pay off in the future. We don't know yet, bro. The manga's not done. We don't know if it's gonna pay off. It could happen.
What
the fuck? We're playing pretend?
Dude, honestly, I have no idea what you're saying right now. This is baffling that you misunderstood everything I was saying.
We can see the effects of the Chimera Ant arc.
Dude,
we don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay, hold on. There's only one arc. There's only one arc after in the anime. In that one arc.
I'll do you a favor.
Listen, before you do me a favor, I'll pull up the VOD,
and I will show you what you said.
I would rather you didn't. No, it wouldn't help. I know exactly what I said.
Because you know you fucked up.
I didn't in any way. There's one arc after the Chimera Ant arc, okay? In the anime, yes?
Sure.
Okay, in that arc, was Morel a character? Yes, and he was established in the Chimera Ant arc. Did it all happen because Netero died? Yes, Netero died.
I need to Google this real quick. No, I'm talking about the main characters. I'm not talking about other things. I'm talking about the.
What did Killua do?
The changes in the characters.
What was Killua doing? You know, the main character. What was he doing in that arc directly following the Chimera Ant arc?
I don't know the character you're talking about. I'm bad with names. I don't know who Moral is.
Moral is the smoke guy.
Oh, this fucking dude, the smoke guy. Okay, I just called him Jiraiya.
Okay, so Jiraiya.
Okay. No, but you're bringing up a point that I wasn't arguing. Like I wasn't talking about other characters. I'm talking about just the main characters.
Okay, all right. So what was Killua doing? What was Killua doing in the next arc?
Real quick, let me just see if you agree with this. Gon, Killua, Kurapika, Leorio, and probably Hisoka too. Those are the 5 characters the Hunter x Hunter revolves around.
I don't.
Is what I would think.
I mean.
So then, who does the story revolve around?
I think that Hunter x Hunter is so great because the story mostly revolves around the themes of the story. It's not about specific characters per se. You have massive arcs about Kurapika where Gon and Killua are completely shunned, and you have massive arcs about Gon and Killua where Kurapika is completely shunned. The story of Hunter x Hunter is a story about existentialism, and every arc tackles that in a different way.
I feel like you're just making up bullshit. Like, actually believe the things that you're saying right now? Like, actually.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's just a show, bro.
Yeah. And that's why it's such a good one. It's such a good one because it's more
Hunter is about existentialism?
The thing is, you're just viewing it as, bro, in this trading arc, he learned a new move, and he didn't use the new move in the next arc. That's character development. How did he not use the new move? But Hunter x Hunter is not just about that. Hunter x Hunter is about existentialism, and that's why the Chimera Ant arc is so good.
What are you What are you talking about? Did you watch like a documentary by some psychopath?
You don't realize that my channel started as an anime channel. I used to do documentaries.
I mean, maybe that's our problem because I think you take the show way more seriously than I do.
Well,
to me, Hunter x Hunter is just a fucking show about power-ups and punching people.
So the thing is, when
that thought hasn't even crossed my mind a single time.
When I get invested in a story, I really like looking into it and seeing why I appreciate it subconsciously. So I subconsciously love Hunter x Hunter for this reason. And now it's conscious because I thought about it.
You think Hunter x Hunter is about a philosophical theory or approach which emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free and responsible agent determining their own development through acts of the will?
Yes.
I think it's about a show about trying to find his dad.
I mean, yeah, that's the vehicle, but obviously, the reason why I really like this is because of the deeper themes. Here, let me tell you something. This might blow your mind. The way Hunter x Hunter is devised, every single arc, they like splitting it up between light arcs and dark arcs, and to use a metaphor. So I'd say the first arc of Hunter x Hunter is a light arc. It's lighthearted, he's trying to become a hunter, but there's obviously some darker themes going on there, right? People actually die in the hunter exam. Then the next arc is the Killua being trapped at home arc. That is a dark arc. It's all about family abuse, and it's pretty messed up. Then the next arc is a light arc. It's the tower arc, but it's a little darker than the hunter exam because you have that whole creepy Hisoka part. Then the next arc right after that is the Yorknu arc, which gets even darker. And then you have a really dark arc. But then it goes up for Breath of Air, right? A Breath of Air in Greed Island, which is a light arc. And then it gets even darker with the Chimera arc. And it's slowly descending with up and downs. It's such a brilliant story. I'm
like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And I like watch this show and then I don't research it and write like.
I didn't research it. This is just, this is how I appreciated it.
Okay, I appreciate it by if the fight scenes and the stories were good, not because it co-aligns with Picasso's visions of existentialism.
Picasso didn't have visions of existentialism. He was just a shitty artist.
Okay. But like, I feel like we can't argue this because to you, Hunter x Hunter's art, and to me, it's a show.
I mean, I think we can't argue this because you're wrong.
Okay, so like from my perspective, you could argue. Well, this is the entire debate. I think Hunter x Hunter's super good because the portrayals and the parallels of the characters are so deep and moving. And then what I see is, oh yeah, some fucking bug played chess with a snot-nosed girl for 8 episodes straight, and I'm supposed to give a fuck? Like, I feel like you're just giving the show too much credit.
Well, I think, at the end of the day, we're just, this is a show made for our enjoyment. If you're not interested in this kind of thing, then, I mean, sure. If you just want to watch it for the fight scenes, sure. I'm not invalidating that point of view. I'm just saying to call this an objectively bad arc is just, it's sad. Which is why I ratioed Tim the Tatman and Ninja on Twitter.
I'm not here trying to talk about TV shows and you're bringing up like theorems and shit.
Yeah, theorems. Yo, can I tell you a sick part? You probably don't even remember this scene because you probably haven't seen the show in a while.
The other problem is I've let you speak so much more than me that chat thinks that speaking longer equals correct, which is unfortunate.
You're still sitting on this bigger dick is better thing. This is literally 90% of what you said.
Well, no, but that's the truth though, right? Like if somebody argues for 90% of the entire video and somebody else argues for 10%, people are going to agree with the 90% because they're forced to hear that perspective.
Well, I spoke for 90% because I was telling you things you didn't know, and you spoke for 10% because you said I wanted bigger punches.
I was just being polite, and I didn't know how to tell if you were actually serious or not when you were bringing up that Hunter x Hunter is about existentialism. I've never heard such a ridiculous take in my life.
It's the right take, dude. If I can explain to you.
So you're telling me that when people watch the show, they think.
Dude, I think that the reason why a story is good is not necessarily because people write a video essay about it. I think it's really interesting because subconsciously you're getting the messages it's trying to tell. It's just whether you're willing to unravel them and bring them to the conscious.
I feel like you're arguing for the minority, whereas I'm arguing for the majority, where to me, a show is just a show, whereas you're trying to talk about it as if it's a piece of art.
I think even you agree that a show is a piece of art.
Show's a show.
What is a show? Why do you enjoy a show? What makes you enjoy
Why
a
do
show?
I enjoy a show?
Yeah.
Because cool things happen.
What makes something cool?
Well, I already know the parallels that you can like try to draw between what I'm saying to making it art.
What makes something cool, Tectone?
Really cool sunglasses.
All right. Well, if that's what makes you enjoy a show, which it isn't, fair enough. So the definition of art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in visual form, such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. I think that...
And then, so what's the definition of a show?
A show is something that's played on television.
Yeah, so they're both of those things.
Yeah, it's both a show and art.
Okay, so for you, when you go to a museum, you see art. When I go to a museum, I see a picture.
So I'm honest, I don't love museums. I think that a show could tell so much more of a story than, you know...
But what I'm saying is that when you only
David
argue
statue.
for why your perspective is right instead of disproving the other point, it's very easy to promote your narrative.
I think that your perspective is wrong because the arguments you placed are invalid.
Okay, so which point did I point out that was invalid?
That it doesn't affect the greater story, that people only like it because it's long, which I think is
It spends more time developing characters that are a
Yeah, but
story,
you're not explaining
and
why
it
that's a
does
bad
spending
thing.
time.
You're not explaining why that's a bad thing.
Because that doesn't affect the overarching story. It does not coincide with anything that happens with the beginning or after. Like, the story should be spent time developing things that are going to be in permanence of things that we know and that things that we are going to know.
You're saying
Otherwise,
that
it's not
that's
important to talk about having, like, it's like what I'm saying is, it's not impressive to have a good side character. It's impressive to have a good main character. That's the reason why the majority of main characters are hated, and the majority, because this is the exact same thing that I'm wondering to you, okay? It's very easy to write a good side character. It's very hard to write a good main character.
I would argue Gon is a good main character.
I would agree too. I sure would have loved to have something meaningful for more than just, oh fuck, they killed this dude, now I'm gonna be angry and kill this thing.
Well, I think that Gon's best arc for his character is the chimera arc.
So who's your favorite character from an anime? Like, who's your favorite character?
I'd say
all of anime.
Gintoki from Gintama.
Taku from Gintama, I never watched it. Can you pick a different character?
Guts from Berserk.
I've also never read that.
Okay, you suck!
Nah, I can't read Berserk until it's finished, and now it's never going to finish. So I'm really fucking depressed about that, because I was going to read once the manga came to a completion, but I can't.
You should read it anyway. It's a masterpiece.
I can't. I've tried not to read things until they're finished. But for real, like, human to human here. Like, I understand the whole idea of, like, keeping public image, and you probably really want to be right, but, like, human to human, do you actually disagree with the fact that it's easier to write a good side character than a good main character? Do you actually, like, for real, Nux? Do you actually disagree with that?
I think it's more common to have a good side character than a main character, because the job of the main
and why do you think that is?
Because the job of the main character is to become relatable for pretty much everyone that watches, while side characters could be much more nuanced.
Exactly. That's my entire argument.
What's your argument? Sorry?
That it's easy to write, have more time invested in that you can, like, completely encapsulate, and especially when that longer period of time has nothing to do with the overarching main story. And Chimera Ant arc is literally a filler arc in the broad scheme of things as far as other arcs go.
What?
And because it exists outside of the normal Hunter x Hunter universe, which is the journey of Gon and Killua attempting to find their dad.
Wait, hold on. So would you say York new arc is not canon either? Because it was about Kurapika? It wasn't about Gon and Killua, really? I think you're looking at Hunter x Hunter very linearly. You're looking at it like, the job is to find the father. Any action taken that does not directly lead you to finding the father is therefore bad.
You don't watch shows that way? Like, when a show has a direct goal, you don't watch a show for, like, okay, Naruto was a show about becoming the next Hokage.
Yeah, it is, but I don't think
but
that's...
How is that not how everybody should consume their media?
I think that...
Like, that is the way that it's portrayed.
An overarching premise is basically the vehicle getting us from arc to arc, right?
I agree with that 100%.
Okay, so it's the overarching premise, but it's not like anything that doesn't lead to that end goal is invalid. I think that one of the best moments...
I also agree. I also agree with what you're saying.
Okay, great. Like, I think one of the best moments in Hunter x Hunter is in the manga is a certain fight that happens between antagonists that I'm not going to mention specifically for spoiler reasons, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Sure.
That doesn't lead to any end goal of Hunter x Hunter, not even a little.
And that's also not what I'm arguing. What I'm saying is it's easier to write those instances than it would be to write something that actually affects the overall arcing story.
What does it matter what's easier to write? What is it? Who cares what's easier to write?
The reason why it's important is because something is praised by being easy to do. I mean, if somebody were to flip a coin over from heads to tails and
what?
No, you're saying why does the difficulty of being able to write something matter? If it's easy to write something, you shouldn't be praised for doing an easy task. You should be praised for doing something difficult, not just complete hand.
All right, let me ask you a question. Let's say you have this super convoluted story. It is so difficult to write, it's insane. But the story just sucks.
By the way, I need to know if you agree or disagree with my point instead of moving to a different target. Do you agree or disagree?
I'm saying the same topic.
No, but real quick. Like, would you agree that things that are hard should be praised, not things that are easy?
What if it's hard but sucks?
Well, then it's bad.
But it was hard.
Well, then it sucks. If it's hard and good, if it's hard and groundbreaking, it should be praised. If it's easy and good, it shouldn't fucking matter because it was easy.
Well,
if I were to throw a potato 5 foot, why would you praise that?
Why do the means matter so much if the ends is what's so valuable?
Nux, you can't actually make me argue these points. It's completely like basic logic.
Dude. I would say that
why would you
praise really hard
something
to write because it's such a great story about humanity.
But it breaks all the rules of the original concept.
It doesn't break any rules.
It breaks away from all the original characters, and it prioritizes things that only exist in that universe.
Why is that
That's
bad?
not difficult to do. Because then you're not sticking.
You're saying that the Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter is the worst arc because it's not difficult to make?
Yeah, why is it praised?
Crap!
When you get to break all of the rules of the previous story.
You were speaking on a different plane of existence. That's one of the worst takes I've heard ever.
Okay, but all you're doing is you're just talking about the artist's work, then you're researching it and praising it for things that artists may not have intended because you don't know what the artist's intentions are. You're intuiting it.
I'm not intuiting it. I think that the artist definitely intended this because if you look at how many of these parallels exist, if you look at
has he said that?
What does it matter?
Because if you don't know the artist's intentions and you're intuiting for him, you're giving him credit and praise for things that he might not have intended.
What?
Why is it impressive? Why is it impressive if somebody makes a happy accident?
Why is it impressive? I don't care if it's impressive or not. I'm not even arguing whether the art's impressive, which I think it is. I'm just arguing that it's good.
I also think it's good.
I think it's the best.
I don't think it's the best.
Clearly. Yo, can I tell you a really cool part about the arc that a lot of people forget because it's kind of short?
Well, I do just want to make sure that the people are knowing that every single concept I've actually brought up, you are not able to disagree with.
I disagreed with all of them.
No, you didn't disagree with any of them.
I'm not sure what plane of existence you are living on, but I'm pretty sure I disagreed with all of them.
Think of disagreeing actually mean anything because you know these are just basic human principles that I'm stating that you're not disagreeing with.
I'm disagreeing with most of them. I don't know why you're not hearing it.
Okay, so what is the point that I've made on basic concepts of humanity that you've actually disagreed with? Because you're going and you're intuiting and you're bringing things like existentialism to them. Because I'm trying to be on your things that are far more intuitive and things that you can make up in your own mind that the artist hasn't intended.
Okay, first of all, I disagree that artist intentions matter. I think that a happy accident that's still brilliant, it's still brilliant. I think that a happy accident does not matter. So that's one thing that I disagree with you about. Second thing is, I don't think that the amount of hard work or difficulty that goes into it, I don't think that difficulty should necessarily matter at all. I think that it's the final product that matters the most. And I think the final product in this case is
you can actually say that? So you're telling me that when you release a video that you put zero effort into and it pops off, you're happy with that, but when you put in a lot of hard work into a video and it does terribly, that doesn't hurt 10 times more?
I'll phrase exactly what you just said.
I'm just trying to give you an example that you might understand.
It's not an example because it's a different subject. Let's say I work on a video. I put 1 million hours of work into a video and I make another video in 10 minutes. Is it possible for the audience to prefer the 10-minute video to the 1 million hour video?
Yeah, it is.
Boom! 1 million hours of work went into the other one. Doesn't that make it better? No, because at the end of the day, it's all about the consumer's enjoyment. And if the consumer enjoys the 10-minute video more, then it's irrelevant how much work goes into the other one. So work going into something does not matter. It's all about the final result.
And what you're also saying is the exact point that I'm saying, so I'm confused why you're acting as if you disprove me.
You just said difficulty matters. I just said it doesn't.
No, that's not what you said. You said the point that we weren't talking about. If you made a good video in 10 minutes, that is far more impressive than you're going to say this is a cop, but my headset just died. What you're going to say is that a video that took 1 million hours to write is that if a video that you did, then you made it in 10 minutes, is really good and people love it, that is way more impressive than somebody who wrote a story in 1 million hours and it's good. Be fucking expected. The thing that you're acting that you disproven with is the exact point that I was trying to argue. Like that makes no sense. And now I need to know where you're at because you actually just proved my point and I'm confused why you act like you didn't just disprove yourself. You're fucking nuts.
Yo, can you imagine this man? He's going on a whole tirade right now with no headphones.
Make a functioning fork in 10 minutes? or make a functioning fork in a million hours.
My man is actually he's going completely nutso without
because
hearing
obviously
anything.
you're gonna make a good fucking fork in 10 million hours.
I love him.
Oh,
I love this
Where
man.
the fuck did you disprove what I said?
He's going on this
Makes
whole
no
rant
fucking sense.
without audio. Oh my god. Honestly,
Yeah.
unironically, I really love the man. He's so funny. He's such a good content creator, and he's such a nice guy. I think
And
he's
which one is it?
wrong, but I am enjoying it.
Alright.
No, he's not memeing, but it's
How
too
do we?
funny.
Well, what I suggest we do is
Yep.
that we write this out on paper that both people can see.
I really don't think that we should do that. I think that
No, because if we do that, we'll actually get somewhere because you're backtracking.
I
a
mean,
lot.
the truth is, most debates don't get anywhere because
No,
at
but
the
if
end
we
of
put
the
it out-
day, art is subjective, and this is just gonna wind up a battle of opinions. Like
No, but if we put
I clearly,
if we put it out on paper.
I clearly put value to themes, to overarching themes, and you don't. So, like, again, we're just gonna argue in circles.
But that's cab, and you know what you're doing right now, Max. That's super cab.
It's not.
That's incredible.
Dude, we can both like different things for different reasons. I don't know why this is surprising to you.
No, because I feel like you need to see the VOD of what you've done, which is it's very interesting what you're doing. But if we put it out on
Interesting guy.
no, but what I'm saying is that like what you do is that I
Yeah.
make a point,
Yeah.
validate your point, then you say that point matters. But if we just write it out, then you can't say that anymore.
I don't know why. Why do you think that I am just backtracking and?
Well, then why are you
contradicting
afraid of
myself?
writing out on a piece of paper?
Because I feel like you humiliated yourself in the argument so far, and I don't want to see
So
you.
is that why you don't want to write it out on a piece of paper?
Paper never helps. Dude,
It does.
I've been in many debates. Paper doesn't help. Never.
Okay, but if we write it out and I say exactly what I mean in writing, and you write out exactly what you mean, then you can no longer backtrack with what you're saying. Because at the end of the
I've
day,
never backtracked.
once again,
I have not backtracked a single time.
so if I send you clips of you backtracking like 50 times, what is going to be the response?
I don't know how you've been interpreting what I've been saying as backtracking, but I did not backtrack.
Okay, so if I send you one,
Answer.
what are you going to say?
I will probably explain to you why it was not backtracking and you understood me wrong.
Okay, and then I could explain why it is backtracking.
Explain whatever you want.
What I'm
but I
saying is
didn't backtrack.
we can take out the middleman, we can take out intentions, we can take out what was said and what not was said by just putting it out on paper.
Dude, if you would like to put it out on paper, it would be a pleasure. But I don't
All right,
think
I
it'll
will type
matter.
out. I will type out exactly what you say. Okay,
Well,
let's make this super easy.
Instead of you typing what I said, why don't you type what you said?
Because then you can say things that you didn't say or things that you did say. So we can just have it out here. It'll be super simple.
Where's your paper?
It's a very.
Send me your paper. Writing never
I
helps.
guarantee you it will.
Writing never
It
helps.
totally does.
It doesn't.
Because then you can just look at the words.
I've been in debates, bro.
All right.
It doesn't help.
Same. I was in a professional public speaking things. I've been debating all my life.
Well, you haven't been
But
doing
the
very
thing is
good.
that there's this thing that I'm like not trying to say because I want to keep things civil. But you're being very underhanded with the way that you're arguing. I'm trying to be very civil. And you know what you're doing, Nux. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm winning a debate.
The nefarious meme, which is kind of scummy.
It's really not nefarious. I'm saying facts. Type your thing. Let's do it. Come on.
Okay. And also, don't get upset about this, okay?
I would never get upset.
Okay. Due to the fact that the plot lines established that surround the main characters of the show don't have the same, but yeah, don't have repercussions outside of that current arc.
Can I answer or like what? What's the thing here?
Just type it out. Just type it out.
Okay.
Type out what you think.
This man thinks he could debate me. I've debated myself out of the pit, brother.
But like, for example, like I haven't taken a
hold
single
up.
pot shot at you,
I think
right?
it helps. I didn't take pot shots at you either. At least not a lot. Okay, all right. You ready? You ready? No.
Nux, you gotta be willing to give me something if we're gonna actually have a debate.
I think the amount of times you like, yeah, I definitely took some pot shots. It was fun.
There we go. Thank you. There we go.
I think that you were like trying to gaslight me throughout the debate. So anyway, all right.
If you watch the VOD, I guarantee you that you will not see that
Okay.
because what yours is intentions, whereas mine is actual factual statements that have actually happened.
I don't think so. But anyway.
Because
so-
you're intuiting the fact that I am attempting to gaslight you where that wasn't my intention.
No, I
whereas
never
can
said
actually
you
say with
attempted to
factual statements.
gaslight me. I genuinely don't believe you attempted. You did not attempt to gaslight me. I just think you're...
That is also what I'm saying.
We're just talking over each other here. I don't think you're fully understanding what I'm saying, and I disagree with what you're saying. Anyway.
Let's continue.
All right. So
no, I'm actually trying to find points to agree with you with, because I'm actually trying to like establish my point. I'm not doing this to spite you. I'm doing this to show you my point of.
I think I hear your
get
point.
My point across.
You appreciate stories on a more superficial level than I do, and therefore you did not like this arc.
Define superficial.
You like big punch go boom, power up lasts for the next arc where you could still do the big punch.
Yep.
I think that's superficial compared to the overarching theme of Hunter x Hunter, which talks about humanity and existentialism, which is why the Chimera Ant arc is so good. So I think that you appreciate it on a much more superficial level than I do. That's all I was saying.
Yes, and once again, I agree with that point a lot.
All right.
I've expressed that prior.
I know, and I agree with it, and I think that's why our arguments right here. It's like, what's the point?
And then the thing that I said past that is the way that the majority of human beings enjoy their shows is from a superficial standpoint rather than a more in-depth analysis.
Interesting you say that, because I think the majority of human beings think that the Chimera Ant arc is a good arc. Whoa, that's weird.
That's because your argument is much easier to do than mine, right? Like you are arguing for the majority, whereas I'm arguing for the minority.
Didn't you just say most people like shows like you do?
No, but you said that the shows, like for Chimera Ant arc, some people like it because it goes big boom. There's lots of big booms. There's lots of characters. There's just big fights. Big fight scenes don't actually matter in the main arcing story.
People like the Chimera Ant arc because they cried at the end of it, not because of big boom.
Interesting. Okay, so write out your point here.
So I'm gonna do it like this. Problem 1 and problem 2. We're good? That plotline's established. That's around the main characters of a show. That's my first point. Okay? My second point is
I think what my problem is that I view shows differently than the majority of people.
I guess so.
Yeah, because already if that is your main point, if you actually
I didn't say it's my main point. I said it's up.
Okay, but like that point in general coincides with my beliefs. Like I don't know how people actually believe that shit. That's why Steel Ball Run is considered the most popular arc of JoJo's, when I think it's a fucking joke. Like, I just don't get why do you think it's impressive, or why do you think that it's good when a good story can be told without the limitations and the restrictions of the overall arcing story? I don't understand why people like that shit. It makes no fucking sense. It's just lazy writing. Am I fucking crazy? Because like, why do people like that shit?
I could explain to you the psychology later, but I don't think that is relevant, really.
Maybe it's because I've been in like professional plays or something, but like, I mean, this shit like Chekhov, the plays that he would write. I mean, the writing of this current era is so lazy, and the fact that so many people agree with the fact that I'm crazy actually validates, which is, I feel like my opinion just goes against the common grain of how the world works.
I guess your mind goes against the common grain of what the world thinks. Anyway, now you write your part. Or you
the fact that plot lines established that surround the main character of the show is not what makes an arc good. See, I would disagree with that.
Okay, why?
Because when I've said this a million times, like here, I'll write it out.
Writing it out is pointless. We disagree on this fundamental point of appreciating a story. But I disagree with you.
I think that's just it.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, I think that's just it. I think we just disagree with each other's point of views.
Well, that's every debate.
That sucks.
Every debate disagrees.
Well, no, because like I thought this was about Hunter x Hunter, but then I realized that this entire debate is actually what we enjoy as anime via medium. Which is, I like the things that are, sorry, hold on, my brain is exploding right now.
I think it's a very narrow-minded way of appreciating media.
I also think that yours is also very narrow-minded.
Yeah? In what way?
Well, because, for example, and I'll say this one more time. I'll write it out real quick, and you tell me.
Dude, you keep cutting off. I can't really hear you.
I'll write it out.
Wait, hold on. You didn't even read my second point. Finish what I was writing before you go on your whole tirade.
Even if you do, it did have repercussions to doubly invalidate that point. Examples: Beyond Netero, Hunter Association, Kahlua Foro, Kite Death Reincarnation, Understanding Nen Conditions Deeper, Jiro. Who is Jiro?
Gyro is a character that was established in the Chimera Ant arc that has repercussions in the future. He's the guy that owned the whatever that zone was called. Both watched this yesterday.
Wait, who is this?
He's the guy that ran. What's the name of that zone? Like the NGL or whatever it's called.
Is this a real character? I've never seen this character before.
Okay. He was a real character.
What did he do in the arc?
Oh wait, hold on. You want to hear something hilarious? This is just random, but I'll say this for whatever.
He wasn't one of the 3 main hunters of the Insect Queen. Where was this character from? Are you sure this dude is in the anime?
Yes, he's in the anime. Yo, you want to read the new thing I just wrote? I thought it was very funny. Read it. It's cool.
Even if you do believe that, it did have repercussions to doubly invalidate the
just
point.
The last line.
Beyond Netero. That's how Gon met his fucking dad. No, Gon met his dad. Oh, that's not how he met his dad in the Chimera arc.
How did he meet his dad? Because there was there was a selection for a new chairman of the Hunter Association. Why was that? Oh, it's because Netero died in the which arc again? I forget.
No, that's fair.
Hunter exam arc. That was funny.
No, that's a very fair point.
Oh, and it completely like destroys your whole argument, right? Even from your perspective, that the main character thing does matter. Like your argument's like kaput right now, right?
No, I would disagree because even if it did do one plot line, I don't think it needs 60 episodes to do that.
One plot line? I gave you 3 lines of plot lines, but this is literally the whole show.
But it's really not. Wait, are you actually like? Are you doing this like to present something on stream? Like I'm trying to talk to you like human to human.
I'm talking to you human to human. I believe in point 1 that I made that plot lines established around the main characters is not what makes the show good. But I'm saying that even if you do believe it's the plot lines around the main characters, the plot lines around the main characters continued because of this arc.
So during the Chimera arc, what was spent more time on? Developing characters of the main premise or just random side characters?
What does it matter though?
Because that's the whole point of my argument, Nux, and that's what matters to me. What I'm saying is I would rather have the time spent on main characters over side characters. That's the whole argument. I'm saying that you're disproving those, but that's not what I'm arguing.
Again, I'm glad we wrote this out, because in the beginning you said the Chimera arc is overrated due to the fact that the plotlines established that surround the main characters of the show, not that they were in the minority of the arc, but you say that they don't have repercussions outside the arc.
I should have written it. No, you...
Don't say I should have written it. Your first sentence was wrong. Right?
No, okay, you got me. That's fair. I'll admit that.
So you lose this. You lose on this point, for sure.
Sure.
Anyway,
now, I 100% agree.
Try something new.
Okay. It's easier to tell a story that has no...
All right, so that's your new point that I have to disagree with?
Yes.
So, again, I'm going to give you another one of these 1-2s.
Sure, and then you write out a point, and then I'll disprove it.
Okay.
If I can. Oh, you can't say it's irrelevant. Oh, okay, hold up.
Let me finish my sentence.
The first point is... Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, Nog.
Your turn.
Jesus Christ. It's irrelevant whether the story is easy or not. Okay, yeah, sure. Even if easiness does matter, the arc was extremely complex as far as the overarching themes of the greater Hunter x Hunter story. You're doing this bullshit again, dude.
Why are you calling this bullshit? I believe what I'm saying.
Okay, I apologize. It's not bullshit. You're doing this tactic again, okay? So, I said it's easier to tell a story that has no limitations than one with great limitations. And so then you say it's irrelevant whether the story was easy or not. What's relevant is if it's good.
Right.
What I am saying in the first statement is no shit that it's gonna be fucking good because it has no limitations. It's not impressive as a consumer if somebody can make a good story when it doesn't have to connect the dots at all versus a story that has to make sense cohesively with the entire story. No shit I can tell a good story if I can say whatever the fuck I want, but it's impressive when the artist is underneath pressure and has to connect pre-existing plot lines than just fucking making ones up.
Honestly, I think this
That is what I would like to say for point number 1. Hopefully we agree there.
No. We don't agree even a little.
No, we don't agree. How the fuck do you disagree with that?
I don't know why you're so surprised. I think that you're making a terrible point. When you're watching a show, are you watching something because you want the work behind it to be good or because you want to enjoy it?
We're arguing about this because it is considered the greatest anime arc. That is what Chimera arc is considered the greatest anime arc of all time.
I never said it was. I said it's the greatest.
That is what
Hunter.
Okay.
That's what I've been saying.
Okay, so in just Hunter x Hunter. Okay, and even still, we can put that underneath a microscope. Okay, it's not impressive that Chimera Ant arc. Could it be bad? It has no limitations.
What is no limitation? I don't understand what no limitations means.
I'll write it out.
Do you realize how this story is good and enjoyable and complex? I don't know what limitations matters. It's like
and what I'm
there
saying
were
is,
no limitations. Listen, man, there were no limitations to Hunter x Hunter before he started creating it. So it's not impressive that it's a good story.
No, I would heavily disagree because that arc has zero reason not to be good. But the fact that it's good is not impressive because there's no restrictions to it. He didn't have to do any rules. He didn't have to develop any of the characters.
You could say
the rules
dude, you could say this about any story. You could say this about any story. There's no reason why. What's your Dr. Stone? Your favorite manga, right? So there's no before he started writing Dr. Stone, there was no limitations in what he could make. So it's not cool that the story's good.
No, that's an irrelevant point because that's from a starting point. You're arguing before the starting point.
So you're saying the starting point and the arc, there's a difference?
Yes. For the starting point of the manga of Dr. Stone, or let's say for Hunter x Hunter, it's about the original point is a boy tries to find his dad.
That's not the point of Hunter x Hunter.
What is the overarching plot line for Hunter x Hunter?
I think you didn't ask the plot line. You said the point.
What is the plot line of Hunter x Hunter?
Okay, so you're saying that the York New arc doesn't have anything to do with plot.
Okay, so what is the plot line of Hunter x Hunter?
Every arc has its own plot line.
Okay, no it doesn't. What is the overarching plot line of Hunter x Hunter? You have to answer it, Nux. What is the plot line of Hunter x Hunter?
Dude, what does it matter what the plot line is?
Okay, the plot line of Hunter x Hunter is find the dad. I can't argue going to give me even a fucking inch, bro. I am giving you so much. You have to give me a little bit and answer one question.
Listen, man. What? Okay, so let me counter.
What is the plot line?
You ask me the plot line of Hunter x Hunter, and then you tell me the point of Hunter x Hunter. Okay?
Sure. What is? Yeah, sure.
So the plot line of Hunter x Hunter is about. It starts off with a boy who's trying to find his dad and venture into the world. Yes, that's a major plot line in Hunter x Hunter. Now, another major plot line in Hunter x Hunter that I think is almost equivalent is Kurapika trying to take revenge on the Phantom Troop. That is another, I'd say, equivalently large plot line. No, that's not a side story. It's not a side story. It's an equivalently large plot line. In fact, it extends to longer than Gon's.
No, I would disagree.
What would you disagree?
Because it weaves in and out, whereas the Gon plot line is supposed to be prevalent for the entire show.
Well, the Gon plot line ends the second he finds his father, and the Kurapika one continues after that. Like,
yeah, but then also that's kind of an odd show. I don't think anybody would argue that Hunter x Hunter's main story is Kurapika trying to avenge his family, right? Nobody would say that.
I wouldn't say that its main story is Gon trying to find his father. That's really irrelevant compared to the greatness of the story. That's just kind of what gets the story started, right?
Okay, would you be willing to go to like a poll for your chat?
I would be willing for you to, now the deal was, now you have to answer me what you think the point of Hunter x Hunter is.
I think the point of Hunter x Hunter was just to write an exciting show for a shonen audience.
That is so vague, it said.
Well, that is kind of the point, though. I mean, there wasn't really a specific point, was there?
I'd say that the point of Hunter x Hunter is the meaning.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me actually give you some slack.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think I get what you're saying now, because BoJack Horseman was kind of the point of BoJack Horseman was kind of to show the thoughts inside of a man trying to find meaning in life. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm glad that you mentioned the BoJack Horseman. I'd say that the plot of BoJack Horseman is a horse that keeps screwing up in funny ways. That's the plot.
Yeah, I would.
That's the plot.
Yeah,
the point is mental health, purpose in life. That's the point of BoJack Horseman. The plot is a horse getting into funny shenanigans because he's rich and stupid.
I think the plot line of BoJack Horseman would be that BoJack's trying to find a meaning to life.
I don't think that's the plot. I'd say that that's the point.
That's it from the first episode. I mean, even the Horseman is him killing himself.
What was that?
Like finding a reason to live. Like the theme song, the intro theme is just BoJack killing himself.
Okay.
So that the main plot line of BoJack Horseman isn't a silly horse. It's about
a plot isn't something you see in an intro. That's a theme song. That's the overarching theme of the story, but I would say that the plot line is very different. I think that the plot is about a horse getting into funny shenanigans, and he's rich, and he's an asshole. That's the plot.
Yeah, I think I would say the plot of the show is BoJack trying to find meaning in life, but we don't have to argue that.
Okay, well, I would say that if you're referring to that as the plot, I would say that the plot of Hunter x Hunter is not a boy looking for his father. I'd say that there are several plot threads throughout the story, but the overarching theme is definitely the darkness of humanity in Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter plot.
Wow, you're gonna read off some MyAnimeList article to try and prove your point. That's sad.
What's wrong with MyAnimeList? What about IMDb or Wikipedia? What's a trusted site?
It's still sad.
How about HunterXHunterFandom.com?
Really does not mean anything to me if it's gonna tell you the basic plot of the first episode. It's not gonna spoil.
That's the exact thing that I'm trying to get you to answer.
And then look up.
Okay, BoJack Horseman, because I got to get you to at least agree to a basic concept here, because you're intentionally disagreeing to everything.
Yeah, because I think you're wrong about most of it.
Okay, but you're being unreasonable, right?
All right, you want to hear the plot of BoJack Horseman? Pretty cool.
Hold on, I'm finding it real quick.
Set primarily in Hollywood, the series tells the story of an anthropomorphic horse named BoJack Horseman, the washed-up star of a 1990s sitcom who plans his return to celebrity relevance with an autobiography to be written by ghostwriter Diane Ewan.
That's fair. I would say that's fair.
Plot of BoJack Horseman. You just said that the plot was about finding happiness, and I agree that's important.
Yeah, but that's because I was intuiting too much.
That's the point.
I was intuiting too much because I hold BoJack Horseman in high regard. I kind of looked in a little bit deeper than what the actual show's plotline was. So yeah,
and I hold Hunter x Hunter in high regard, so I looked into it a little deeper.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like that is the whole premise of our argument here. Okay.
So you agree it's good?
I just said it's most likely the weakest arc for Hunter x Hunter. It's still good, but it's still the weakest arc.
I mean, I think that the Killua family arc is the weakest arc.
Really?
Yeah, I think that, honestly,
I fucking loved that arc.
It's funny. I think that the Killua family arc, the Tower arc, and the Hunter exam arc are all relatively mid.
Those were majorly my favorite arcs. They were so good. Like before, like there was like no real depth to Killua, and I never understood why he worked. And then when I got to happen inside of his household, it made me connect to the character more than I've ever done.
Yeah, no,
I love that shit.
It was a pretty good arc, but it wasn't it's not a 10 out of 10. I would say it's like an 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, and then and then your second point was, even if easiness does matter, this arc was extremely complex as far as the overarching themes of the greater Hunter x Hunter story. And while that I do agree, what I'm saying is it has all the grounds and it should have been good because it had so much more length and once again did have no limitations.
So you're saying that the reason, even though it was good, it doesn't matter that it was good because it should have been good.
Yes, it pretty much. If it was bad, it would be an entire joke to the entire series and nobody would talk about it.
But it was great, so it's good.
Right, but that's to be expected though, right? Like for example, if you make a sandwich in 30 seconds, it's most likely gonna be pretty mid. But if you take about an hour to make a sandwich, it's most likely gonna be fucking great. I mean, it's just to be expected.
Okay.
Like why would it be bad, right? Like why would it be bad?
Right, so let's say I make a great sandwich in 30 seconds and you make a terrible sandwich in an hour. What's a better sandwich? The one with that.
Well, the guy who made a bad sandwich in an hour is a fucking idiot.
Right, exactly. Okay.
But no, that's my right exactly. Like what? You would expect a good fucking sandwich in an hour. You can't tell me you don't understand this, Nux. You're a 25-year-old human.
Oh no, this is so sad.
Remember, team of the red. Why would a sandwich be bad if they took an hour to make it? How do you disagree with this? You're crazy.
What are you saying?
Crazy.
I mentioned this. Oh my god, dude. This is so sad.
Why would it be bad?
This is so sad.
You disproved yourself, bro. That's the exact thing that I'm arguing. Yeah, this sandwich better be fucking good.
Dude, your limitation point is so bad. I don't even know how to argue it with logic. It's so bad.
Yeah, because you don't know how to argue. Marianne arc obviously would have been fucking good because he had no limitations and way longer to tell it. The other arcs are more impressive because he had a shorter time and more limitations. That's why I enjoy the other arcs, because I understand the trial and tribulation and the stress and how hard it was to write it and make it cohesive with the overarching plot line. Let's fucking go! Wow, that felt good. All right, that's one for me. I'll take that shit, baby. Let's go! Okay, disprove that, Nux. You can't. You know that's a point for me, bro.
I feel like you just had something snapped in your brain right now.
Bro, you know I'm correct. You know I'm right on that.
Oh my god, dude, this is the worst point.
Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong, Nux.
So sad. This is so sad. Again, I wrote 2 points that I think are both worthwhile. I think that both my points.
I would say I disproved them with my last statement.
You didn't.
Then tell me why my last statement is wrong. Tell me why my last statement is wrong.
I don't see your last statement. We're writing this out, right? Write your last statement.
I already wrote it.
Where?
Why would a sandwich be bad if they took an hour to make it?
What does that have to do with anything? I don't care how hard it was to make the sandwich. I just care if it's good.
Nux, if you can't that last point, then we can't continue the conversation.
Okay, well then I'll answer it for you because you'll appreciate it. Why would a sandwich be bad if it took an hour to make it? I don't care how long it took to make, as long as it's tasty. How's that? So what
you're telling me is that you would go to a restaurant, order a sandwich.
Okay.
Something that should take 2 seconds to make.
Okay.
And you'd be like, oh man, I'm sure glad it's at my table after an hour.
What does that have to do with anything? I'm sorry?
Oh my God, Nux, can you stop, dude? doing that.
I'm not doing it,
Dude,
your arguments make no sense. Your arguments make no sense. It's actually sad to me. Dude, I think that the Hunter x Hunter, the Chimera Ant arc is good the entire time. We're talking about, what are you saying? You start off talking about the impressiveness of the sandwich and how longer should mean that the sandwich tastes better, and then you switch over to people waiting in the restaurant for the sandwich. What are you saying?
It's a parallel because you keep on telling me that you don't understand anything that I'm saying, so I'm trying to imply basic human principle.
I think that what you're saying inherently makes no sense.
Should we like bring like another person in? I don't get how you don't understand this.
I understand. I think you don't understand.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, once again,
okay,
and I'll read what I wrote out here.
Okay.
Better yet, I'll write it like this. The Chimera Ant arc would obviously be good because it had the most time to expand and develop itself, and also did not have to prioritize the pre-existing plot lines. You can't tell me you don't understand that basic sentence.
All right. You want?
I'm like, listen, I'm not even capping.
Can you
like,
listen,
I'm
please?
even trying to agree with you.
I'm not trying to agree with you because I think you're wrong. Listen, can you listen, please, for a second, man? The Chimera Ant arc would obviously be good because it had the most time to expand and develop itself. You're saying that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I am.
But it's not a bad thing because it's good. It's a good arc. So good, It used its time wisely, right?
No.
Okay, and then your next point, and also it did not have to prioritize the pre-existing plot lines, which it did, right? They got into this arc because at the end of Greed Island they found Kite, so he got linked to Kite, so it did.
The plot lines were there, but they weren't prioritized.
Okay, but I don't think that matters. I don't think it matters that it wasn't prioritized. I think our priorities are in different places. My priority is that it tells a good story and that the themes are in line with the overall story. I think.
And my priority is, why would anything be praised so highly when it had every right and there was no doubt in anybody's mind that it would obviously be fucking good?
This no doubt thing, I think it's just a flawed point. It's a flawed argument.
I would disagree entirely.
You keep saying that since it should be good, it doesn't matter that it is good.
Yeah.
No, what does that mean? It's good though.
Yeah, but obviously it's going to be good. It's like, for example,
what does that mean?
So, okay, no, I'll give you an example right now. Let's say let's say Pokemon Red was good, and then they remade Impressed. They did an HD remake on Pokemon Red, and it's good because it was already going to be good because it's good. Or you're going to be impressed by a new title that's good because it's a completely innovative subject.
The Chimera Ant arc's not a remake.
Nux, I'm trying to give you parallels, bro. Please don't play dumb.
I'm not playing dumb. I don't know why you keep saying that. You've said that like 20 times. I don't think I'm an unintelligent person, and I don't think you are either.
I think
we're just not.
No, I think you're very smart. I think you're very smart. But I feel like, do you honestly admit, like right now, like you're not fucking with me?
I honestly swear to God, I think your point sucks. It's terrible.
God, that's crazy to me.
It's like saying that One Piece has 1,000 chapters, so it better be good if it's gonna be 1,000 chapters. So it doesn't matter that it's an amazing piece of literature because it's long as hell and it should be good. Like I don't. That argument is what you're saying, and I think it's bad because One Piece is great. So I have no idea what your point is. It's like, okay,
that's not my argument.
That's sort of what you're saying. You're saying it has this amount of time.
It's actually the exact opposite of what I'm saying. That's the problem, is that you keep on saying the exact opposite of what I'm saying. Because I think One Piece is like pretty good.
I think One Piece is like pretty good. I think it's a masterpiece.
Exactly. Like I know that you think that. I feel like it's pretty good. I would say Black Clover is generally better.
I don't think so. I think that's a pretty terrible take.
I would also like to return that your take is also quite terrible from my perspective.
Okay, that's fair. Being that this is essentially art and people view art subjectively, I can appreciate that. For example, here, let me give you what I think is a good way to wrap this up. You like the second arc of the Hunter series, the Killua arc, because you can relate to Killua because you had a pretty rough upbringing at home and relationship with your father.
Sure, yeah, 100%.
So you can relate to those characters so much more, so you saw that arc as great. I had a great relationship with my parents, so I didn't relate as much to those characters. Okay? So that is why two people with two different minds can appreciate a story on different levels. you can appreciate it on a much deeper level because you can relate so much more to the characters.
I like the direction. I'm enjoying this. We're going good.
So being that we each, that's an extreme example, but being that we each have different values in our lives, different things that we appreciate, and different things that we give credence to, we can appreciate different arcs in different ways.
I agree.
I personally, maybe I'm a nerd, but I love philosophy. So when I see a philosophical masterpiece of a story like the Chimera Ant arc, I really appreciate it. If you're more into something with big boom goes blammo, then I could see why you appreciate
You're selling me. My problem is that I'm a theater nerd. Are you familiar with Anthony Chekhov?
Yes.
Yeah, so like, for example, like plays from back in the day, like for example, Shakespeare, like Romeo and Juliet, which is a very overrated play, but I still appreciate it because it took one plot line and took it to its extent and then didn't have any extra filler whatsoever. And like that to me is very impressive. Like, I wouldn't be impressive if inside of Romeo and Juliet, they threw in a random fucking scene of like a fight between two characters that had no overarching effect on the rest of the story. I would consider that a waste of time, even though it might have been a good fight. I didn't feel like it was necessary for it to be told via that medium, is what I like. I like things that, to me, make sense to the overarching plot line, not random things that can happen in the pre-existing plot line.
So do you think overarching plot lines, thematically speaking, are irrelevant?
Wait, is that what you thought I just said?
No,
that's the exact opposite of what I just said.
You're saying that it needs to be relevant, like it needs to be relevant to the overarching plot. But Hunter x Hunter's Chimera Ant arc is very relevant to the overarching themes, even if it's not.
It is. Okay. It is. That's true. That's a point that I will budge on 100 billion%. I was completely wrong about that.
Right. So if you're gonna say, so that is why I think, even according to you, this whole idea of how it's like in its own world is that this arc is like a standalone arc. I think that's not a good point.
No, yeah, it's definitely super wrong. I exaggerated it. The majority of it is irrelevant to the main story, but there is some points that can carry on to the rest of the story.
Well,
like maybe about 15%, but 85% of it is pretty much irrelevant. But 50, I would agree.
The 85% of it is really important to understand the themes of the arc itself, which in turn leads you to understand how it connects to the broader themes of the story. Can I give you an example of a scene? You keep cutting me off and not letting me tell you this scene. It's like a literal 2-minute scene, but can I tell it to you, please?
If you think that I'm cutting you off intentionally, I'm really not.
I don't blame you. I'm not having a bad time. I'm enjoying it.
Sure, go ahead.
So there's a scene at the end of the Chimera Ant arc where you had this one ant with like an ant head that was the daughter that was originally captured by the queen. Do you remember this? And at the end, she went back to her home after the Chimera Ant arc ended. And she went home to visit her mother after she was reincarnated as an ant. And she has like an ant head. She can't even speak. She's one of the ants that didn't even develop enough to speak. So she goes home. Her name was Reina. She goes home to her mother. Her mother when she was human, not that now she's an ant. And she looks at her mother, and her mother looks at her. Originally gets terrified because these ants have been eating the ants ate her children, right? So she looks at the ant, and the ant is starting to cry because originally she doesn't recognize her. And then the mother says, "Reina, my love, is that you?" And she starts crying, and she gives the ant a hug. And the other people in the village see this deformed ant monster, and they all say, "Reina, you're back." And the whole town comes together to give her a hug and to welcome her back in.
Yeah, no, it was sick. It was an amazing moment.
Amazing moment. Now, let me tell you why I think that moment is so good. This is a person who has been deformed and reincarnated into a putrid monster body. And despite that fact, the people around her were still able to accept her as human.
Yep.
That is
dope.
Completely irrelevant to all the characters in different arcs, but it is so perfect at actualizing what the story is about. You see what I mean? I
would disagree. Wait, how is that about what the story's about? That's not what the story's about.
Because the story is very much about what makes a human.
That's intuitive. I don't think that's implied.
I think it's
I don't think anybody would say Hunter x Hunter is about what human. God, I don't think anybody would say that.
Well, I think it's very much what the Chimera Ant arc would focus on, right?
No, yeah, that is exactly what the Chimera Ant arc focused on, but no other arc did.
So the Chimera Ant focuses on that and how that plays a role in existentialism. And the whole story is about existentialism. But what it is to become a human is an element of existentialism, and it's tackled in this arc.
I would disagree there because I don't understand how for example, tell me how the first arc is about existentialism.
Well, the first arc is trying to get you into the story for the most part. I think, again, it's one of the weaker arcs. I think that the strongest...
And I do like how you phrased it, like getting you into the story, and that's what I agree, because that is the story, and the existentialism isn't the story. That's the story that
I think the
Chimera Ant arc tells, but not what the main story tells.
Here you have a story about... Let's say I can do this from all the perspectives. Let's start with Killua, okay? So you got a guy like Killua. At the beginning, he seems like everything is cool by him. He makes friends with Gon easily. He's clearly very powerful. He's clearly kind of twisted in certain ways, and in the final fight of this arc, he completely freezes up. We don't know why he freezes up, but he freezes up. There is something that is completely overpowering him mentally, and it turns out that the person that he was about to fight was his brother that tormented him for years, to the point that he couldn't even fight. He didn't even get to the point that he was able to fight. There was a greater power that was so much overbearing to him, he could not continue.
I think the greater power is called the author prioritizing other characters than characters who are main parts of the story. I think that's the main power.
What is that?
And also the other thing.
Sorry.
Well, what I also wanted to say was, and I get your point, all that stuff.
Okay.
You do this thing where you like listed characters that exist outside of the arc. Let me list you all of them that don't. Okay, let me list you all the characters that don't fucking exist outside of the Chimera Ant arc.
What does it matter if the character exists? I care that the theme is important to the rest of the story. I'm not saying that the characters are that important to the rest of the story.
This is my perspective, right? I'm arguing why like the majority of the Chimera Ant arc has nothing to do with outside of the Chimera Ant arc. There's so many characters that exist in the Chimera Ant arc.
Theme-wise or plot-wise? Theme-wise or plot-wise?
Nefer Patel doesn't exist outside of the Chimera Ant arc, but the repercussions,
right?
Exactly. The repercussions of what she did exist outside of the arc, and that's the shit that I love. Like that's what I'm talking about here. So like there are characters in this arc where the repercussions there's none outside of the arc. Whereas there are characters that do, and for that small 15%, they're very, very, very good characters. They're very, very, very good plot lines. But like, I don't want filler in my anime. I want things to exist from the beginning to the end. I don't only want them to exist for a blip, is what I'm saying.
I think themes are very important, and I think that the themes don't only exist for a blip. And I'll give you an example to try and reiterate my point. What's his name? Poof. I think Shia Poof doesn't directly affect anything outside of the Chimera Ant arc. But despite that, he is so important to understanding the overarching themes of the Chimera Ant arc, and that is what makes the arc so good and how it attaches to the rest of the story. So for me, I think Shia Poof is a fantastic character. You probably hate the guy.
Who? Shia Poof?
Yeah, the butterfly guy.
That guy was fucking sick.
Why? He was irrelevant to the rest of the story, though.
Oh, well, because it's still good art. It's just not the best. Like, he's good.
This is so sad.
But like... he's
insane.
Good, but like doesn't really matter for the rest of the story. But he was dope. I'll admit that. But like that's what I'm saying, right? Like the Chimera Ant arc was good, but it was only good in the Chimera Ant arc. And other than that, the majority is in potential. Once again, it was cool to see.
Can I tell you another scene in the Chimera Ant arc that I really like?
Oh no, I told me so many, bro.
Why?
Can I tell you a fucking scene that I like?
Yeah, tell me a scene you like. Tell me a scene you like.
I like this scene. I like the scene where Gon finally hits Hisoka with the bungee gum.
That was a good scene. Can I tell you a scene I like more?
That shit was pog. Another scene where Gon and Killua played dodgeball. That shit was pog.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Like this,
agreed.
Right, like the dude like had to put his differences aside, and they finally grouped up and played fucking dodgeball.
Hell yeah.
Gon is terrified of that. It was sick.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but please don't act like I think the Chimera Ant arc is a complete fucking waste.
I'm not saying
think
you're
all
saying
the arcs,
that.
it's the weakest. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's the strongest. I get what you're saying. I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yo, can I tell you another scene I like in the Chimera Ant arc?
You're such a shit disturber. Sure.
Oh, yo.
Sure,
before I even tell you the scene, because at this point we're just fanboying over fun anime, right? But
yeah.
How is the dodgeball? I think the dodgeball fight was one of the best fights in the entire Hunter x Hunter story.
I agree.
Tell me how it wasn't filler.
Oh, because wait, whoa, hold up. Stop! Stop! How wasn't it filler? Because it had to do with the main character, and Gon. It had to do with the main character and developing Gon and his relationship.
You think their relationship developed from it?
Yeah, how would it not?
What changed after that? When did it matter that their relationship developed? They didn't even see each other after that fight in the entire story.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
sure?
That's the last time they crossed paths, bro.
Well then that's the climax. The climax is them finally teaming up.
No, it's not, because Hisoka still wants him to grow so he can eventually beat him.
Yeah, but they finally team up after all the like that is the finale. Them finally
That's
joining
the
forces.
finale of Hisoka. So Hisoka's story arc is over when he teams up with Gon and Dodgeball.
Well, out of curiosity, if it's not, then what was their last interaction?
That was their last interaction, but Hisoka's
Exactly,
story
so that
still
would be-
continues, bro.
Well, then what happened after that?
Well, I would say Hisoka had a very important arc in the Hunter Association arc when he came up against Killua and he teamed up with Illumi. I think that Hisoka was extreme. Honestly, Hisoka after the anime ended, it's manga spoilers.
With just Gon and Hisoka.
Well, I mean, who knows? The story's not over yet.
Exactly. But that's like for where we're at right now,
Yeah.
I can't argue for what hasn't happened. I can only argue for what has happened.
That's fair. That's fair. But you're talking about important repercussions. That's a word you used many times. There were no repercussions to the volleyball thing at all. We both agreed it's a great fight, but again, it's
No, I would say that Gon could learn to trust those who he trusts the least. I feel like that's important for Gon's character.
And when did that matter?
Is being able to put differences and fear aside.
Put differences aside, but when did that matter? When did that happen? When did that development come into play?
When Hisoka came into his life.
Again, after the Hisoka scene, because
I don't think a theme needs to repeat in order for it to be prevalent.
It doesn't need to repeat, but character development means you could see 10 episodes from now that he's a different person than he was 10 episodes before. How did the volleyball match show you that he became a different person after that? I didn't see
well,
it.
that's actually gonna happen in the next 2 chapters of the manga.
I hope so. I hope
You see that? You see, we don't know because the story's not over.
Exactly.
Maybe it's important.
Right, so
who knows?
So you're saying that the Chimera Ant arc's relevance is just as irrelevant as the volleyball match. So they both suck.
I will never admit that. No, the volleyball, let me tell you why. Because the dodgeball fight was short and sweet and it was fucking pog. They made dodgeball and they made it dope as fuck.
True.
And it was like a 3-minute scene and it was fucking poggers,
It was like
bro.
2 episodes. It wasn't 3 minutes, but yeah.
Chad,
Speaking of 2 episode scenes, did you like the part where the Phantom Troop fought the ants? That was 2 episodes. Did you like that part?
Wait, hold up. The Phantom Troop fought the ants?
The Phantom Troop invaded one of the ants' palace to decide who would become the new interim chief of the ants of the Phantom Troop. There was 2 episodes.
No, the last time I watched Hunter x Hunter was probably 2014.
All right.
2015. So no, I don't remember the specifics.
Well, that was a 2 episode point. That was such great 2 episodes, and they weren't really relevant, but they were great episodes.
I don't remember, to be honest. And I think that's the problem, is that like if it was dope, I probably would have remembered it.
It was dope. I think you should remember it.
I didn't, so I can't.
I'm not offended. Don't get me wrong. It's just
I don't think you're offended either. Also, thank you for coming back down to earth for me, Nux. I appreciate that.
What does that mean?
You're going a little bit crazy there for a little bit. I ain't gonna cap, bro. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this right now.
All right, and now here's why Sword Art Online is better than the Chimera Ant.
Hey, the first 8 episodes of Sword Art Online are pretty damn good, bro. And the intro is also dope. But yeah, I think I learned something about I guess I just like things that the majority of people don't, and that's why I have so many issues in my life.
I really don't think you can equate liking shows and not liking shows to issues in your life.
I think you can.
Really?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
I don't know.
Cause what I appreciate in a show, which is consistency to the main plot line, is so overlooked. It hurts my ability to relate to people, because what I appreciate being told in an artistic medium isn't what other people relate to. And if I can't relate to other people, that's generally going to make me go into more conflicting situations now.
I mean, like, I don't like sports. That doesn't mean I can't become friends with someone that likes sports.
I can tell you that because I also greatly don't like sports, I generally alienated myself. One friend that actually likes sports. His name is Beans.
You could usually find some common ground that you can relate to.
That's fair, but also like one is a specific interest, which is sports. The other one is just a actual premise that can exist in all forms of art.
Yo, I could get super psychology on you, mega psychiatrist gamer, and say that maybe the reason why you value a continuity is because you've had problem with your life's continuity. So you give so much value in a story that has a continuity, some line that you can stay grabbing hold to. Whereas throughout your life that's something that you had a hard time with.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And then I would say the reason why you don't need that shit is because you live a life full of chaos.
Let's go! And I think the moral of the story is you're a really fun guy to argue with. Yo, thanks for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. God damn it, I upload 2 videos a day, and they're funny. They'll help you take your mind off the miserable existence we all live in. These videos are all streamed live on my Taku Twitch channel, which is also linked in the description. And gamers, I have been helped out a lot by G Fuel, so if you enter code NUX to get yourself 10 to 30% off your G Fuel order, it is a great extra cool energy drink that's 0 calorie, it tastes good, and goddamn it supports your boy. So feel free to pick some up. They've been super helpful, and I very much appreciate them. And you twisted my arm, 5,000 subscribers on Twitch, and I will do No One Understands Zoro as a 2-hour big Mega Chungus live stream. Stay weird, fam!